The boardroom phone kept vibrating on the table. No one answered it. 8 men, 1 woman, all staring at the screen like it was a live wire. I stood at the far end of the glass table, hands folded over my stomach. Not protectively, not tenderly, strategically, the way I'd learned to hold myself when everything inside me was screaming. "Why," the chair finally asked, voice cracking, "is our insurance provider asking whether we approved a termination?" Silence. I looked at my former CEO. He wouldn't look at me. 3 days earlier, he had leaned back in his leather chair, smiled like this was routine, and said, "Pregnancy changes priorities. This position no longer has room for you." I had nodded, only asked one question. Should I notify the insurance company myself? He scoffed, waved me off, dismissed me the way you dismiss a clerical error. Now the phone vibrated again, and I realized, very calmly, that this was the moment the truth stopped belonging to him. I had given that company 8 years, built systems no one else understood, fixed messes no one else wanted their name on, covered for his mistakes while he took credit in quarterly meetings. I was invisible until I wasn't convenient. The pregnancy wasn't planned, but neither was loyalty supposed to be conditional. He didn't fire me with paperwork, he fired me with language. Soft words, corporate tone, no witnesses, no email trail, just implication, risk, liability. When HR avoided my eyes the next day, I felt it, something rotten beneath the surface. Not fear, coordination. They already knew. I replayed small moments, the sudden policy review, the rushed severance, the insurance writer quietly added 6 months earlier, one I'd personally flagged as unnecessary, and the way he'd said pregnancy like it was a flaw he'd discovered too late. That night I opened my laptop, not angry, focused, because betrayal doesn't announce itself with noise, it hides in process. I didn't confront anyone, I audited. My old access hadn't been revoked yet, a mistake born of arrogance. Insurance claims logs, internal approvals, a private channel between the CEO and HR director, flagged confidential, unsecured. There it was, a planned restructuring, not for efficiency, for optics. They had anticipated a pregnancy, not mine, hers, the HR director, his mistress, 12 weeks along. My termination created a vacancy, a narrative, a scapegoat. They intended to reassign my role under a family-first initiative, then quietly route maternity benefits through a shell policy attached to my employment ID. I was never excess, I was cover. I printed nothing, forwarded nothing. I let them keep believing I was gone. Every morning I drank ginger tea and memorized timestamps. Every night I slept with one hand on my stomach, the other on my phone, watching patterns align. They thought silence meant weakness. They forgot who built their systems. The insurance company called me directly. They were polite, confused. They asked why my termination paperwork included projected maternity claims for a pregnancy dated after my dismissal. I asked for everything. When the report arrived, I didn't rush. I read it slowly, twice. Then I requested a meeting with the board, as a courtesy, as a former executive concerned about compliance. I brought one envelope, no accusations, just facts. When I slid the report across the table, the HR director went pale. The CEO finally looked at me. "What is this?" he asked. I tilted my head. "You should recognize it," I said. "I approved the policy." He opened his mouth, closed it. The room filled with understanding, and something else, disgust. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't smile. I explained cleanly how my termination violated labor law, how the insurance manipulation constituted fraud, how the affair, while irrelevant morally, became relevant legally the moment company resources were involved. I explained how I delayed reporting, on purpose, so you'd finish it, I said softly, so there'd be no ambiguity. The CEO stood, tried to speak. The board chair held up a hand. The phone rang again. This time someone answered. I gathered my coat before they asked me to stay. "I won't be pursuing reinstatement," I said, "or settlement." They looked confused. "I'll be filing independently." That was when he broke. Not loudly, just enough. I walked out alone. The city felt sharper than before, cleaner. I hadn't won anything tangible, no money, no apology, but something heavier had been transferred. I used to think power came from proximity. I know better now. It comes from patience, from letting people finish their lies before you introduce the truth. I placed a hand on my stomach as I crossed the street, not in hope, in acknowledgement. Some things survive betrayal. Others deserve to burn quietly behind you. I never looked back because I didn't need to see the damage. I'd already done the math.